Welcome to Prenatal Yoga, a program designed for women who are in all stages of pregnancy. From the very first trimester, from the first moment that you feel that you're pregnant till labor and delivery. Many of the classes, if you enjoy them, you can use them throughout. They're just designed for the particular needs of each woman's stages of pregnancy. First trimester is about slowing down, remembering to breathe, and practicing being here now. Second trimester is about resting deeply, finding time for yourself, self-care, and learning to be in a body that's changing. The third trimester, if it's at all possible, it's about resting even more deeply. It's about practicing breathing, learning techniques that are going to help you in labor and delivery, and practices that help you to ease some of the discomfort of a growing body. I hope you'll enjoy them. Please listen to your body. Go at your own pace. If anything doesn't feel right, don't do it. If you have any outstanding medical conditions, please check with your primary healthcare provider and make sure that it's okay with them that you're going to do yoga. If there's anything in the program that you find you don't understand, you can contact us at info@atlasstudio.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you and have fun. Welcome to Prenatal Yoga. This is Jessica, and Jessica's going to help us today to demonstrate a class that is wonderful for someone who's just found out that they're pregnant. It's a beautiful class for any time in the first trimester. Actually, you should be able to do this class throughout your whole pregnancy if you wanted to. The only modification you would make, I'll mention them as we go through the class today. I'm going to help Jessica get as comfortable as possible, and I invite you to do the same. Some props that we have for our practice today are some folded blankets, blocks, a strap, and a couple of pillows. You could use an old tie, you could use some books, you could use some towels if you didn't have blankets to fold. There's always something that we can make use for this. So today I'm going to put a folded blanket underneath Jessica's head because you can see her neck is pretty comfortable even in this position, right? And if your back is really tight, you might want to put a pillow or a rolled towel underneath your knees. Would you like that, Jessica? Okay. And find a place where she can relax completely and wiggle around and get comfortable. If you don't find it comfortable to lay on the floor, feel free to sit on a chair or come into a comfortable seated position for this part of the practice. Letting your eyes close softly, allowing your attention to turn inward, and begin to pay attention to how you're feeling today. Noticing sensations in the body, noticing how you're feeling. Observing anything that's coming up in the mind for you today. The first trimester of pregnancy can bring a lot of questions, can be very introspective. Imagining that your head is getting very heavy now. Let the face soften and the head sink down into the ground. Shoulders relaxing back and down. Breathing into a soft belly. Letting go of any sense of holding or restriction in the abdomen. And imagine that every breath is a gentle massage for baby. Little peanut that's in there in the first trimester. And the breath is the first sound that baby hears. Hips are relaxing. And the feet fall open gently from the hip joint. Whole body relaxing. Whole body relaxing. If you're further along in your pregnancy and it's not comfortable to lay on the floor any longer, feel free to have a bolster to support you. You'll see that in later parts of this course. As you feel the body relaxing and the breath settling into its natural rhythm, let's come now to the complete yoga breath. Inhaling deep into the belly, expanding up through the chest and into the collar, and exhaling collar, chest, abdomen at your own pace.
inhaling from the bottom up and exhaling from the top down. Try inhaling and exhaling through your nose, unless, of course, your sinuses are blocked today. And if you need to breathe through your mouth, of course, breathe through your mouth. Breathing through the nose warms the breath, slows the breath down, and stimulates noddy points in the nose and the back of the throat. Each breath a little bit deeper, a little bit fuller, until you find your natural maximum capacity to inhale and exhale. One or two more rounds of complete breaths, and we allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. As the breath comes back to its natural rhythm, notice the stillness that you've created by just being willing to relax and pay attention to the breath. And from that place of stillness, we'll take a moment to set our intention, a moment to think about what's important today, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. What is important to you today? Allowing the thoughts, the insights, the words, maybe even the images to swirl around until you can distill that down to a single word or a phrase that best represents what's most important today. And we bring that intention forward to the conscious mind as we begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, circling the wrists and the ankles, both directions, releasing tension. And we'll bend the knees and place the feet on the floor. You might want to pull the pillow out from underneath the knees together, feet wide. Allowing the low back and the hips to relax. If you're starting to feel like it's uncomfortable lying on your back, you can put a couple of pillows underneath your back to lift you up a little higher. On the next exhalation, let's let the head fall to the right. When you're ready to inhale, bring the head back to center and exhale to the other side. Heavy, heavy head rolling side to side. Let the head sink into the floor. Imagine that you're carving a trough into the floor for the head to roll back and forth in, supporting the head, releasing chronic tension. Once more to the right and to the left, and we'll bring the head back to center. As the head comes back to center, tuck the chin in just a little. Imagine getting taller. Begin to nod yes, just a small nodding motion. And with each nod of the head, imagine that you're creating more space for the spine to rest comfortably in. And then bring the head back to neutral. As the head comes back to neutral, let's open the arms up a little bit wider, palms open, and walk the feet in side by side. And think about hips, knees, and ankles being in alignment. And we'll think of the pelvis as a bucket. And we're going to tip the bucket forward, arching the back, and then press the bucket back into the floor. And back and forth with the pelvis. As you rock the pelvis back and forth, just feel where your tight places are, if there's any tension that you're holding. Maybe you can become aware of really releasing the tailbone and relaxing the muscles around the coccyx, the very tip of the tailbone, softening the pelvic diaphragm, beginning to relax the muscles of the pelvic diaphragm that support the organs of reproduction and the organs of elimination. Once more, back and forth. And bring the pelvis back into neutral. On the next breath, imagine the pelvis like a steering wheel. I'm going to slide the pelvis towards the right ribs, and then slide the pelvis back to neutral, and then slide the pelvis over towards the left ribs. So we're just sliding side to side. Notice if you're trying to pick up the pelvis, and really let the pelvis be heavy, and slide side to side. You may find as it goes side to side that one side of the back is tighter than the other. If you notice this, feel free to pause and take a couple of breaths into the tight side until you feel the muscles begin to relax and the sensation even up between the two sides. Once more side to side, and we'll bring it back to neutral. As the pelvis comes back to neutral, let's put the two movements together. On the next breath, press the small of the back into the floor, slide the right hip towards the right ribs, arch the back, slide back through the center and over to the left side. And then, so if we imagine that the pelvis sits in a circle, we're trying to tip the pelvis and touch all four quadrants of the circle with the muscles of the pelvis and low back. That's it, you're doing great. Smile, it's a good day. Notice that no matter what's going on in your day, taking a little time out for yoga, smiling while you're practicing is one surefire way to improve mood. And bring the pelvis back to neutral. As the pelvis comes back to neutral, relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, and we'll go the other direction. Slide to the left. Press the small of the back into the floor, slide to the right, and arch the back. Same motion, trying to touch four quadrants of a circle with the pelvis. And one more time in this direction. And we'll bring the pelvis back into neutral. As the pelvis comes to neutral, let's bring the knees into the chest, one hand on each knee, and just rock the knees a little bit side to side, just enough to release the back and bring the knees a little closer and closer. And then as you come back to center, let's roll onto the left side. Roll onto the left side all the way over. And just use the folded blanket to support your neck if you need to. Imagine inhaling into the back body and exhaling, letting the back relax. We'll take 2 or 3 breaths here on the side. As you feel the back relaxing, the jaw relaxing, eventually we're going to come up onto all fours. Take maybe 1 or 2 more breaths, and then keep the head heavy and relaxed. Use the arms, and try to use your arms to push up off the floor, as opposed to the neck muscles. That's it, and then your back will get engaged, and we'll come up onto all fours, onto the hands and knees. As you come up onto the hands and knees, hands are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, and we find the table position. So it's allowing for the natural curves of the spine. Imagine reaching out in both directions from the crown of the head to the tailbone. And as you feel a sense of table, press the shin bones down into the ground. And on the next breath, arch the back up towards the ceiling like a cat stretching. Tuck your chin in, look down the nose, and curl the tailbone under. Pause for a couple of breaths, and notice if you get more extension in the spine on the inhalation or on the exhalation. When you feel like you've established an understanding of the sensation there, bring the spine back to table, neutral position, and then arch the spine in the opposite direction, cow pose. No wrinkles in the neck, we're not trying to compress the low back, but stretching from pubic bone to chin. Baby sitting in the sling of the belly. And again, noticing if you get more length in the spine on the inhalation or on the exhalation. And on the next breath, let's flex the spine back and forth 5 times. Make it feel good. As we come into cat, we give baby a hug. As we come into cow pose, we let baby relax in the swing. Back and forth. This should feel good. If it doesn't, it's a good idea to pause and think about warming the back up more if it's not comfortable for you. Should feel good. Once more, when you've done 5 times back and forth, we'll come back into neutral. And we're going to curl the toes under today. And just lift the knees about 1 inch off the floor. Yeah. And hold for a full breath in, full breath out. And then drop the knees back to the floor. I'm going to do that 4 more times. Each time we do it, we're working on core strength without ever practicing an abdominal exercise that's going to damage your abdominal muscles. Classic sit-ups or crunches can really affect the rectus abdominis as we get bigger. This is a great way to maintain abdominal strength without ever damaging the abdominal muscles. And when you've done that 5 times, we'll do cat and cow, 5 more breaths. If it's bothering your wrist, feel free to use your fist on the floor, or let me know and I'll bring you some blocks, or you can grab your blocks or your books and put your hand on the edge of a block or a book. When you flex the spine back and forth 5 times again, let's sit up and back on the heels into hero pose, Virasana. As we sit up and back, you're going to turn the palms up to the ceiling as they rest on the front of the knees and bring the thumb and the pinky finger together into what's called Jala Mudra. Jala Mudra. Jala is water, right? Jala Mudra. And we're going to take 10 of the deepest, fullest breaths you can take here. And as you take deep breaths here, noticing any sensations that arise. If your feet, shins, or thighs are uncomfortable here, we can put a folded blanket underneath the feet or one between the seat and the feet. When you've taken 10 breaths, we'll release the gesture and we're going to swing the feet out in front and come into seated staff pose. That's it. From seated staff pose, the hands are by the sides. And if you're like me and have really short arms, you might need blocks underneath your hands to make it so that you can press down gently into the ground. It's not like you're trying to push your weight off the floor in this pose today. It's just an extension of the arm, a lifting and opening of the chest. And imagine the skin sliding down the back. If you have trouble sitting up tall, you could put a rolled blanket underneath the knees or sit on the edge of a cushion so that it's easier to sit up straight. 2 more big breaths here. Chin is parallel to the ground. Tall, tall spine. And then relax the pose. Point the toes. Bend the knees and place the feet on the floor. Hands by the hips or behind them. And inhale, lift up into inverted table. Lifting your hips up. Yep, feet on the floor. Lift up. And hold for 5 breaths. If you don't have the strength to hold for 5 breaths, you could lower the hips down between the hands and go up and down 5 times instead. That's it. When you've held for 5 breaths, bring the seat back between the hands and we'll take the feet out wide. As we take the feet out wide, now we'll bring the right foot in and place the right foot against the inner left leg. And when we're pregnant, we don't want to push them together. We just want them to be in a relaxed pose. And we'll inhale the hands up Exhale the hands down, keep the lift in the chest, and then come forward. Walk your hands forward until you find you've got a gentle forward bend going on. There's no sense of compression in the abdomen. And then let the chin fall down to the chest. And begin to nod, yes, just a small nodding motion. It's a nutation of the head. Just a small nodding motion. And then let your chin fall right into the chest and take 2 more big breaths. And imagine breathing into any places where you feel this more intensely than others, inviting a sense of release and relaxation into the body. This is a time to begin the practice of slowing down. When you're ready to inhale next, use your hands, press into the hands, and begin to walk it back in, hands by your sides, and change legs. Opposite leg out to the side, other heel in. Inhale, hands up. Exhale the hands down, keep the chest lifted, walk the hands forward. And you've come as far forward as you can comfortably. Relax. And even if your hands don't quite touch the floor, they could be in closer so that they can be on a firm surface. And let the chin fall into the chest. And once again, begin to nod, small nodding motion. See if there's anything else that you could release and let go of today. And then let the chin rest on the chest, breathing into the upper back, the middle back, and the low back. And on the next inhalation, press into the hands, use the hands to support you, and walk it back in. And across the legs and sit in a comfortable position. Easy pose. It means sitting where it's easy for you to sit. And if you find that it's uncomfortable to sit in general, it might be a good idea to sit on the edge of a cushion so that your pelvis can remain in neutral. And on the next breath, let's begin to roll the shoulders back. The shoulders will start to feel like they're carrying about 50 pounds on the chest. I'm sure for every ounce that we gain as we move along through our pregnancy, it seems like a lot of it ends up in the chest. And we're carrying more stuff. And it's just great to slough off the day, slough off the people who are not serving us in this day. Anything else you want to just slough off today, imagine as you roll your shoulders back, you're letting it slide off your shoulders. That's it. And then let the body come back to neutral. And take a couple of breaths and just notice and let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. Notice how you hold the neck and shoulders. What can I let go of? And when you're ready, let's change legs so we have the opposite leg in front. That's it. That might feel like the wrong leg, right? And we'll put one hand on each knee, and let's let the ribs go side to side. Imagine putting your ribs on the opposite wall. That's it. Just trying to move the thoracic spine side to side. And bring it back to neutral. And we'll do the cat and cow pose that we did in table. We'll do it in seated position now. Spinal flexion. Once more, back and forth. And bring it back to neutral. As you come back to neutral, take a breath and get tall. And we'll put the 2 movements together. Take it to the right, open up to the front, circle around to the other side and back. Making the biggest circles you can with the torso circling around, massaging the pelvis and invigorating the spine and moving the energy through the abdominal organs, breathing, inhaling and exhaling. One more circle in this direction. Imagine gravity drawing you back into the center. spiraling around to the center. And take a breath there. And on the next breath, let the ribs go to the left, open up to the front, over to the right, and back, spiraling in the opposite direction. And as you go in the opposite direction, this might feel more comfortable or it might feel awkward. Notice as you go around, is it a completely smooth circle? Are you abbreviating one corner or part of that circle? The effort to smooth it out helps you to resolve some of the tension and blocked energy. We'll talk more about blocked energy in an aside. You can look for notes on what the heck does blocked energy mean anyway. And bring it back to neutral. As you come back to neutral, let's find our way back onto the back. That's coming down. You're going to either scoot down onto the floor and find your folded blanket for under your head again. Sure. And let's bring the knees in and bend the knees and place the feet on the floor. And let's bring the knees right into the chest. And maybe take them just a little bit wide so there's lots of room for belly. And rock a little bit side to side. Circle them around. And in the other direction. And bring it back to center. And let the head roll side to side. Release any tension that's built up in the neck. And bring the head back to neutral. And we'll release the knees. Place one foot on the ground and the other foot. Stretch one leg out straight and the other leg. If you need a pillow for underneath your knees, we're going to come into our final relaxation. We still have a few things to do, but relaxing now, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, can make a huge difference in our day. If you wanted to stop here, you could. We're going to come together at the end of the practice for a breath. We're going to hold Jala Mudra again for a few moments. And while Jessica's relaxing, I'm going to share with you the lyrics of a beautiful song. I'm probably not going to sing them for you, but I'll read them as a poem. And you'll probably recognize it. It's pretty old. It's an old Paul Simon song. Slow down, you move too fast. You've got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Ba-da-ba-da, 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 feeling groovy. Hello, lamppost, what you doing? I've come to watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no rhythms for me? Do-do-do, do-do-do, feeling groovy. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-da, feeling groovy. I got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you. All is groovy. An old song with beautiful lyrics. And maybe you can hear the music as you relax and breathe and be present with your own body. If you wanted to move your hands back into Jala Mudra, just bring your thumb and pinky finger together and breathe and relax. If you have time today to continue to relax and breathe and just pay attention to the breath, please stay here. As our time together is ending for this practice, Jessica, when you're ready, coming back to intention, coming back to the breath, coming back to an awareness of the body, releasing the gesture, noticing anything that you want to remember from this practice, and know if it's important that it'll stay with you. And begin to do whatever your body feels the need to do now as you begin to find your way back up to a seated posture. No hurry, taking your time, coming on around. That's it. Let's take a breath together. Inhale, hands up, look to our thumbs, and exhale, bring them into our heart. Let the gaze turn downward to Anjali Mudra. And if you like, you can chant Om with us today, or just listen and enjoy the sound. Taking a deep breath in. Om. Shanti. May you go in peace. Namaste. Thank you.